Hey 12s, NFL Play 60 Superkid Quentin here, ready to get you all pumped up for the 2020 NFL Draft this Thursday, April 23rd. Hope you all are doing well during this time of quarantine. I know I just finished my virtual schooling, and I know a lot of us are in the same boat, so I hope you all are hanging in there. Today I'm here with current Seahawks linebacker, 2019 Seahawks 5th round draft pick, and University of Washington alum, Ben Burr-Kirven. He's going to answer some questions from our Junior 12's Kids Club members about his experience going through the draft, becoming a professional football player, and of course, what his quarantine activities look like. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
I'm doing good, just hanging in there during this time. First question, start with our Junior 12's Matt. Matt wants to know, what was the most exciting thing, playing in your first game or getting the phone call that you were drafted?
I think playing in the first game for me, obviously, the draft is a really, really stressful time. You're just waiting and hoping for that call and trying to see where you're going to go. But I think, once that happened, there's so much more that goes into actually making it onto an NFL football field that I think people don't realize. It's easy to say, like, the draft, oh, you've made it, you're in the NFL, but really you don't feel like you're in the NFL till you strap up that first time. So that first game was definitely the craziest moment for me.
All right, that's cool. Junior 12 Sarah asks, what was it like going through the NFL draft, and what was your first big purchase after making it big?
The draft process is stressful. It's a long process. You have to go through the combine. So you spend, a couple months after your senior year training, getting ready for that. And you go to the combine, you meet with teams, kind of show them all your physical skills. And then that next kind of month and a half is, a lot of meetings with teams and stuff like that. And then you suddenly have these 3 days where you basically are staring at your phone for a couple hours every day, just waiting for a call. So, it's a stressful process, but when that call finally comes in and, to see a team and to know that somebody's, picked you to play in the NFL is pretty incredible. And, oh man, my first big purchase, I didn't really get anything too crazy, or like right off the bat, but I got a new car this offseason. So that's probably the biggest. I got a Land Rover Defender. So that's probably the craziest thing I've got.
I don't know what I would get if that all happened to me making it to the NFL. I have no idea what I would get. Junior 12 Luke says, hey Ben, I was wondering how big of a transition it was going from the Washington Huskies to the Seattle Seahawks. P.S. I went to a lot of the Husky games you played in.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear he went to a lot of games, so I always love to hear support from Dog fans. But I think the biggest transition, when you're in college, there's a lot of good players, but at the end of the day, if you're a guy that's going to make it in the NFL, you're probably, going to be one of the better guys in the field. But when you get to the NFL, every single guy there was that guy in college. So, all of a sudden, every single player is just as good as you, if not better than you. So the level of work and just the commitment required to, stay on that field and be able to compete with those guys is probably the biggest transition. I think it's even bigger than high school to college.
So you just got to really work to be up there with the guys who are there.
There's the commitment is just different. Because in college, you're still going to school, you're in class, things like that. So you really only can do football for a certain amount of time. Then all of a sudden the NFL, it's our job. So, we're in the building for, 10 hours a day, whether it's meetings, practice. So there's so much good that goes into, not only being on the team, but being able to contribute and, make everybody else better.
All right. Next up, Junior 12 Ali says, you were her and her papa's favorite player. They have been watching you since you were a Husky and thought you were the most exciting one on the field. She wants to know, did you ever have a favorite player when you were a kid?
That's awesome to hear, Ali. I think growing up, when I first started watching football, I remember Brett Favre was the first guy I really remember, being a fan of. I always wanted to be a quarterback when I was a little guy, back before I actually started playing ball. I thought being a quarterback would be awesome. I always wanted to have the ball and things like that. And watching that Brett Favre play, the way he kind of slung it around with kind of no regard for anything, but just looked like he was having fun. That was definitely the first player I ever remember, really gravitating towards.
That's cool. I wonder if any of the Junior 12s know who that player is.
I hope so.
All right. Richard is wondering, when did you start playing football? At what age? And when did you know it was your sport?
I started playing football when I was in 6th grade. I think I was 10 years old, maybe 11. But I'd wanted to play for about 3 or 4 years before that. My parents hadn't let me. But I think when I was 7 was when I first knew that, I wanted to play football, and that was my goal in life. I remember I told my parents that I was going to be in the NFL one day, and they didn't even know I even knew what football was when I told them that. So kind of from that point on, it was all I ever wanted to do. And then in 6th grade, I started playing Pop Warner and never looked back.
Is there it's just, you just knew from that moment, you just knew that it was your sport, or was there any questioning that you just thought maybe this is my sport?
And I fell in love with it. I started watching it, and then I started, like, I would go to the library, I would check out books. I was reading about, players, anything I could get my hands on, playing touch football, stuff like that with my friends. And then when I finally got to play, real tackle football with pads and everything, it was, everything I hoped it would be and I had imagined it would be, and I just fell even more in love with it.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Junior 12, Andrew is curious. What was your daily routine when you were in middle school and high school? And how did you balance your athletics and schoolwork?
Yeah, I think it's definitely challenging when you're trying to, be a good student as well as a good athlete. And I think that just comes down to the way that you're able to kind of focus on what you're doing at that time. So, in the morning I'd get up, go to school, go to all my classes, and, during that time, just be completely focused in on my classes, not worried about football. There's time for that and there's time for school. So when I was in school, I was just focusing on school, making sure I was doing well. And then, after school, you go to practice and whatever, 2.5 hours, that's all I was focused on. I wasn't worried about my school. If I wasn't worried about tests or anything, that I was going to go put everything I had into my practice. And then after that, normally go back home, have dinner with my family, catch up with everybody, and then get my homework done. And, if I maybe had time after that, watch some film. But if not, it was homework, bed, and get up and do it again. So I think being a student athlete is definitely a challenge when it comes to, the time requirements to get everything you have done. But if you're prepared and you don't procrastinate, you can get stuff done and still do well.
Yeah. My dad, he said a lot of the same things you just said, because, he played in high school and college and stuff. He said the balance was, you had to keep it straight. Otherwise things could go.
If you start messing around and procrastinating, you'll get all screwed up in both things, and then none of it will be good.
All right. Junior 12 Manny asks, what is the coolest thing about being a linebacker?
I just like to make tackles. I like hitting. That's the thing that drew me to football the most. I love the physicality of the sport. Growing up, I played soccer, basketball, a little bit baseball, stuff like that. And I was a little bit too rough for those sports. And, I get in trouble, get fouls, that sort of thing. And so when I got to football, I tried a lot of different positions. I played running back for a long time when I was younger, some quarterback, some safety. And then once I found linebacker, I kind of just realized, this is my home. I could make plays all over the place, hit dudes, make tackles, make picks. So I just think that, playing linebacker, you're kind of in the heart of everything that's going on the field at all times. And I love that.
Yeah, it seems like linebacker is one of the most fun positions, it seems like.
It's challenging, but it's super rewarding, and it's a great time.
Yeah. Junior 12 Weston wants to know, what was your favorite season vacation spot and why?
I think the coolest place we went was probably going to Lambeau. Obviously, I would have wished we would have won that game. It was our playoff game, but that was a really special trip. I think just because Lambeau Field's such a historic field, and in just the history of the NFL. I mean, it's kind of one of those iconic stadiums. So getting to go out there and play a game there, and it was just something that kind of was a little bit eye-opening and mind-blowing to be like, wow, we're really playing in Lambeau. And obviously, we wish the game would have gone different, but that was a pretty incredible place to go play a football game.
Yeah. What's your favorite off-season spot?
Off-season? Oh, man. I love Hawaii. I mean, it's probably the cliche answer, but Hawaii is, it's always beautiful to go and hang out on the beach for a little bit and get some sun and just kind of get away from things and relax a little bit.
All right. Junior 12 Dylan asks, what are some things you do for fun outside of football?
I'm a really big movie guy. I studied a film in college, so that's kind of my favorite thing probably outside of football. If I'm trying to relax or just, wind down after a long day, I love to watch a movie. And then, like I said, I have my puppy, Marshall, I got in January. So he's taking up a lot of my time right now. And it's a lot of work, obviously, training him. But, he's a great time. And especially during this quarantine, I think I'd be going a little bit crazy without him. And then I love to work out. I think, outside of, playing football, that's probably my favorite thing to do is just I love lifting weights. I love working out. So spend a lot of time doing that.
All right. How was it majoring, or not majoring, but just taking film in college?
It's a unique thing because it's not a big major at UW. So obviously, like some, if you're taking business, things like that, or there's just things you can end up in these huge lecture halls with hundreds of kids, and whereas my film classes would be maybe 12, 15 kids. So it's a more intimate learning environment. I would say you get a little bit more attention, and it's people kind of always like, wait, you're studying what? But it's what I enjoyed, and I knew, when I got to UW, I tried a bunch of different classes, and I just kept gravitating to it. And I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm not gonna, force myself to study something that I'm not passionate about.
Yeah. It sounds like something. It sounds fun. Now our last question from our Junior 12s. Liam asks, what are you doing to prepare for this season, especially since we are all stuck at home?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do everything I can to stay in shape. So, when things started getting locked down a little bit, I ordered some weights and stuff like that off Amazon. So I have a decent little setup at my house right now, so I can keep lifting weights, try to stay strong. And then we have our playbooks and stuff like that. So just trying to study everything I can, keep my mental edge up, so that when we're finally allowed to go back and get back to work, that we won't miss the beat. But it's definitely I think a challenge, and it's just finding anything you can do. So it's going out on a run with my dog, because I can't go run in the field with the team and do all that kind of stuff. But just finding little things here and there, trying to keep things interesting, whether it's making up stuff in my backyard, just anything I can think of to keep things going and just stay motivated and focused.
Just trying to do anything to get that exercise in.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's easy to use the quarantine as an excuse to kind of sit around and be like, well, we just can't do anything. But then when you come back and everything's back to normal, you're not gonna be happy with the results. So it's just finding things you can do, whether it's you can even lift water bottles, anything you can do to keep things moving forward.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say I can't wait for the Seahawks 2020 season to start. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining us, 12s, and don't forget to tune in this Thursday, April 23rd, for the 2020 NFL Draft. For more information on this week's Seahawks Weekly Challenges, visit Seahawks.com/WeGotThis. Until next time.